Hello everyone. To discuss the hijab controversy in pre-university colleges in Karnataka, which has become a major political and communal flashpoint, I have with me Arif Mohammad Khan, Governor of Kerala, former Union Minister, lawyer and an Islamic scholar who has often spoken about reforms in the Muslim society and has done so in the context of Quranic teachings. Arif Sahab, appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to begin with putting this entire conflict in context. Should this be about hijab at all? Because the report that was published by National Statistical Office in 2020, which was titled Household Social Consumption Education, revealed that Muslims on various yardsticks of academic marginalization fared perhaps bad or worse than the SCs and STs. And I'm going to quote some numbers here, sir. At 48.3%, the gross attendance ratio at senior secondary level is lowest for Muslims. 21.9% of Muslim girls in the age group of 3 to 35 have never enrolled for any academic program. Where is this entire discussion about hijab getting lost?
When you find a problem, then you not only try to find the solution of the problem, but in order to find the problem of the solution, first you have to make proper diagnosis. How the problem has been created. Have we thought about that? In the whole world, not just in India, in the whole world, Indians were the first, in India, the Muslims were the first to be exposed to Western education. And at what cost? Sir Sayyid was branded kafir. There were 68 fatwas against him. And finally, Maulvi Imdad Ali goes to Makkah and Medina and gets 8 fatwas from there, from every school of jurisprudence. And this fatwa exhorts the Muslims of India not only to ensure that Sir Sayyid does not succeed in his mission, but it goes to the extent of saying that Muslims who have the authority and power, it is their religious duty to ensure that he is beheaded. Only till few years back, I would say even today, these very people, they are against girls going to school. Who is responsible for creating this situation? I do not know. One problem is that in Muslim society, particularly in Muslim institutions, history is not allowed to be read. Why they don't have the course of history? What is the difference between human being and an animal? An animal lacks historic awareness. He becomes victim of the same plot which was used to kill same animal 500 years back. Whereas human beings, because they are blessed with historic awareness, they can protect themselves. In Muslim institutions, take Deoband, take Nadwa, take any Nadwa. Sometimes some of my friends say, no, Arif bhai, Nadwa, they teach history. I said, who has written this history? One Nadwi. Is this history book available in any book, in any bookstore, anywhere in the country?
Then in that case, sir, my question is...
Your question is, you are giving me statistics showing the marginalization of Muslims. I'm asking, we will have to find out who is responsible for the marginalization of Muslims in the education sector.
Yes, when we answer that question, these are minor girls. These are arguments being put forth by the community, sir. I'm just going to put that before you because you'll be putting this in context for us, perhaps in a better way. These are minor girls who say that perhaps if they don't wear the headgear or the headscarf, because again, lost in this entire debate is the distinction between what is a hijab, what is a burqa, what is a niqab. And they are of the opinion that if they don't step out and learn.
So first let me explain.
Is that the family to be blamed or the girls?
First let me explain this to you. Hijab, the word has occurred 7 times in Quran. And nowhere it concerns, the term has been used in the context of the dress a woman is supposed to wear. Not even once. The term which has been used in the context of the dress is khimar. And khimar is like the shawl which you are using. The Arab women, the history tells us, and I am quoting from the book of Sayyid Amir Ali, which is considered, was universally acceptable, this book among the Muslims. It is considered a classic. He says that they used to keep Arab women, the dressing was such that their neck and upper part of the chest was not covered. So the Quran, but at the same time they were using khimar. Before that, I must also point out that among the Jews, the hair of a female, not all Jews, Orthodox Jews, the hair of the woman is considered like the private parts of her body. Therefore, they never display their hair. On the other hand, among the Muslims, particularly the early years of Islam, women were participating in battles, women were participating in all economic activities. Women, in fact, when I say battle, if you recall the Battle of Uhud, the Quraysh women were leading the soldiers. And there is not one or two, many narrations in Bukhari which say somebody who was injured, who was lying down, he says, when 2 wives of the Prophet were giving me water to drink, I could see that they had folded their trousers or whatever they were wearing almost up to their knees. And I could see their ankles. In a case where a man died, now the woman is supposed to stay at home to spend iddat of 3 months. This woman comes to the Prophet and says that my husband has died in last week or 3 days back. I have small children. If I stay at home for 3 months, and I have a small piece of land with date trees. If I do not go and look after, then who will feed my children? And Prophet says, you have every right to go look after your trees and take care of your children.
So essentially, Arif Saab, that this is some kind of view that has been put forth. That's why I want to know, is hijab an integral or an essential part of Islam?
This is exactly I was coming to, that what is integral, essential and intrinsic to the practice of Islam, why it should be decided by me or you or anybody else? Islam itself has clearly laid it down. 5 arkan hain. There are 5 pillars of Islam. When Islam itself has laid down those 5 pillars, who am I to add the 6th to it? Do I have the authority?
Okay, so let me take
So what are the 5 pillars? Is hijab included in them?
No, it is not.
The 5 pillars are clearly defined, clearly laid down. Who are these people to try to change them?
What's these here? Who are these people? Who are you saying these?
People who were responsible for launching agitation in 1986, 1985 against the judgment of the Supreme Court. Same people who said that triple divorce is a divine law. In 2017, what they said? They know this is bidat. We agree this is bidat. They are, in 2017, they were saying that they were requesting the Supreme Court not to intervene, but we will see to it that this practice comes to an end. Who are these people? In 1986, they were saying that this law cannot be touched. After every 30, my question is revelation stopped coming after the Prophet, or is it still coming?
It's now interpretations of those revelations.
No, I will tell you. Just go back 1967, I came to Aligarh. The Aligarh boys who had gone on an academic tour of Almora, and they were coming back, and they were wearing pants, shirts, and it was winter, so some of them were wearing suits. To offer Friday prayers, they went into a mosque in Bareilly. They were almost all of them, they were beaten and they were pushed out of the mosque. In this dress which you are wearing, prayer is not allowed. If you are wearing a watch, you are not allowed to enter the mosque. After 30 years it changes. Do they receive any new revelation? For hundreds of years, fatwa was that for an Indian Muslim, Hajj is not obligatory. Hundreds of years. Why? Because the shipping companies, they insisted on an identity card which will carry a photograph. And Mullah said that photograph is not permissible.
Absolutely.
Just a moment.
Yes.
Just a moment. It is not permissible in Islam. Today, you see every mullah sitting in TV studio. Now it has become permissible. Have they received any new revelation? Yeah, they have made a mockery of the religion.
Let me take this about what is being seen as, if this is not an essential practice, then does
this is not a question of if and but. If it is essential, Islam has laid down everything in detail. You point out where is the question of if?
Let's come to the constitutionality of it now, Arif Saab. In 2016, a single judge bench of Justice A. Mohammad Mushtaq of Kerala High Court in Amna bint Bashir versus CBSE case cited Quranic injunctions and hadiths to hold that covering the head and wearing a long sleeve dress by women have been treated as an essential part of the Islamic religion. There have been other injunctions as well. Let me quote another part. Similarly, in 2020, the reason why I am doing so, sir, is these are arguments being put forth by the pro-hijab activists.
Fine.
In Fatima Hussain Sayyed versus Bharat Education Society.
My point is, my point is that instead of quoting too many, this one verdict makes the position clear.
Okay. Provisions
now my
Article
question,
19(1)(a), and which is guaranteed the freedom of speech and and also Article 25(1).
We will mix up too many things. That is why I am saying. Not that I don't want you to cite all these cases, but then it will become too burdensome. First, let us stick to the opinion of a judge who says, quoting Quran and Hadith, that this is essential to the practice of it. This is what you are saying? I would like to see that verse. Simply because somebody says that according to Quran and Hadith, it is intrinsic. It does not become intrinsic. I would like to see that verse, and I would like to thank the man who shows me such verse in Quran. We have example from Prophet's time where Prophet is speaking. He raises a question. Women are on one side, men are on one side. Surely in the mosque, women are not wearing hijab. And then Prophet asks a question. I won't go into details because you don't have so much time. No man replies. But a woman stands up. And she says what you are saying. Now, but she stands up. Is she being looked at by the Prophet? Is she being looked at by those who are sitting in the mosque or not? Not just that. There is a lady Salma. Leave aside even the other ladies. Lady Sukaina, daughter of Hazrat Imam Hussain, the legists, the poets, the writers, all these artists, they used to gather at her place. Then you have the example of Aisha bint Talha. Who is this lady, Aisha bint Talha? She is daughter of Hazrat Talha, a close companion of Holy Prophet. He is a co-brother of Huzur Sallallahu. Hazrat Aisha's elder sister is married to Talha. And from that lady, Talha has this daughter, who is also named as Aisha. And because Prophet's wife does not have a child, therefore she informally adopts her. Now, where she has grown? In the household of the Prophet.
Yes.
She has grown. And she is proverbially beautiful. Who is proverbially beautiful in Arab society? About whom the prophets mention in their poetry that this girl or this lady is so beautiful. Those days your channels were not there. Newspapers were not there to describe anybody's beauty. So she became subject of the poetry of the poets in Arabian Peninsula. Proverbial beauty. And her husband, after marriage, her husband, who is governor of Kufa, again son of a companion of the Prophet, tells her, he does not say you are a Muslim woman, therefore you should veil her. He says, you are wife of the governor of Kufa. Why don't you veil her? Veil yourself. She said, me and veil? God has put his stamp of beauty on me. I want people to see me and realize the grace of God in my beauty. They were not Muslims. They are more Muslim than them.
Then what will you tell those girls who are saying that the right to wear hijab is the religious right which has been guaranteed to them by the Constitution?
I asked them one question. On the day, in which college you received your school education?
I went to Patna Women's College.
Patna?
Women's College.
No, I'm asking school level.
In St. Joseph's Convent High School.
That is what I wanted you to say. When you went to a Christian missionary school, did you insist there that I will not follow your discipline and your dress code?
No. It was about uniformity, you wanted education, and that was the best school.
You wanted best education. These girls, the day they signed the application form and the admission form, did they enter into a civil contract with the school authorities or not? That they will follow the dress code, they will follow the discipline of the college. Did they enter into it or they did not? Has this college imposed these conditions after they had been admitted into the college? Or they existed before their admission into the college? Do they have any legal right to challenge it now? They have the freedom to move to any other college, where the college allows them to wear. These girls, till last year, they were not wearing hijab. School has produced has produced the photos. Why? What suddenly has happened to them? We should be logical. It is not simply because somebody says, Hindi mein kehte hain, kaua kaan le gaya. We check whether your ears are there or they are not there.
But we are seeing protests also take place.
If
these girls are saying that it is their right to wear it.
We were seeing far larger protests in 1986.
And India is a secular country and they are being guaranteed this right by the Constitution.
This is not the way to argue any subject. We had seen much larger violent protests in 1986 when the protests were so large and so powerful that they forced the government, which had more than 400 MPs in the House, to buckle under their pressure. What happened? What is the result? After 1986, the Congress party never touched 200 in Lok Sabha and never touched the number of 100 in Uttar Pradesh Vidhan Sabha. You injured public sentiments. Who are these people, those who organize? First,
so whose sentiment was affected that time?
First, I will give you an example of Pakistan. In no election in Pakistan, religious parties have been able to secure more than 5% votes. But they had the street power, where after elections, they will succeed in unsettling any democratically elected government. They will create so much lawlessness that ultimately martial law was imposed. What has happened to Pakistan as a result of that? Among these people, personal law board people, is there anyone who fights the elections? And every one of them claims that they are the sole spokesman of the community. Have they been elected, chosen by the people of, I would say, leave aside people of India, have they been chosen even by the Muslims?
So what are you saying, that are these girls not able to understand their choice, or are they pawns?
Certainly these girls are innocent girls. There are other forces. Never forget, after independence, for most part of the time, these people, unelected people, opening offices, 100 offices in Okhla. Every organization claims to be All India organization. Nobody outside Okhla knows even their name. But they are able, they go from one minister's house to the other minister, from one party to the other party, and they were enjoying all kind of comforts without going through the rigors of election. Now, these people, the same thing under the present dispensation, they are not enjoying the same kind of privileges which they were. Therefore, they don't want to spare any opportunity where they can create problems for the establishment, and in any case, by their very inclination, they have a divisive mindset. I ask you one question. I ask myself this question. I just want to share it with you. And if you could find a solution. If we accept their argument, hijab is no problem. Hijab, you should accept that hijab is intrinsic, is essential to the practice of religion. For argument's sake, we accept their argument. Now, an IPS Muslim girl, will she be able to wear hijab while performing her duties?
Okay, I will
just a moment.
Take that forward.
No. Let me complete. Will she be able? She won't. And she's not going to resign her position. But she will have, once society accepts that hijab is intrinsic, now all her life she will have this feeling in her mind. A psychological confusion, a sense of guilt will be created. It is only because of my career, because of my children, because of my family. I cannot give up my job. And because of the job, I am not able to practice something which is essential for the faith.
To take this argument that you are giving forward, let me just give examples that are being cited again. In 2014 March, the football apex body FIFA lifted the ban on headscarves, allowing players to wear the hijab on field. In May 2017, the International Basketball Federation, that is FIBA too, lifted the ban on hijab. New Zealand recently allowed a woman wearing hijab to join the police. This is what is being cited to say that this is progressive.
None of these instances addresses the subject which we are discussing today in India. Why? Because you allow a male player, if he wants to wear a cap on the head, it is that kind of hijab. What these people are discussing is that face should be covered. There is a hell of a difference between.
Yes, so are you?
May I ask you?
Face cover
I
scarf.
ask you. You are a very bright, intelligent. I'm not trying to praise you. I'm so impressed with you. You are one of our one of our assets.
Thank you, sir.
You are very bright, very intelligent anchor. I would say of not just of your channel. You are noticed by everybody. With wearing hijab, will you be able to perform your duties while anchoring at the news channel?
We follow decorum, and I also believe that by choosing an institution which I did during my schooling, I have made the choice that this is the path that I want to be on.
Who is denying the choice today? Don't go to this school, you can go to the other one. There are others which allow hijab. Last 3 months, I have attended 4 convocations. As governor, I am chancellor of 15 universities. You know the number of gold medals and awards which have been won by the girls? More than 74%. In Veterinary University, to my utter surprise, because I thought in Veterinary University, you deal with animals, it's a bit hard subject. I was surprised to see that among the medal winners, there was only one boy. And the number of Muslim girls who have won the medals is nowhere less than any other community. You want to push them back to the 4 walls of their house. You will ask them to deal with the animals while wearing hijab.
All right.
Have a heart. Please have a heart. Don't just become victim of the making. These people, I will recall the famous speech of Mustafa Kemal Pasha. He said that the year when he said Constantinopolis was ours. But it was snatched from us. We decided it is ours. The whole world opinion was against it. But we took action and we reclaimed it. But in the same year, one person, Sheikhul Islam of Turkey, he gave the fatwa that printing is haram. Printing press was invented in that year. And he said, we ignored the world opinion to assert our right. But we surrendered before this one man. And he says, you look at the history, look at the statistics, the educational status of Turkey and rest of the Europe was almost same at the same time. But because the clerics stopped us from using printing press, whereas rest of the Europe used printing press, we were left behind and others went ahead.
Fine enough. On that note, always a pleasure to speak to you, Arif Sahab. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Thank you for putting this entire conflict in context, because perhaps that is really the need of the hour. Appreciate your